Today I'm working on my mom's 1972 Dodge Charger. I figured I'd do a video and kind of give you an idea of how the suspension comes apart. For most of you guys that have done this before, this is going to be pretty boring, but in case there's somebody in there that wants to know how to do it, never done it before, or maybe is intimidated by it, it's actually pretty simple. All of the Mopars from this era are pretty much the same, car-wise. So if you're doing an A body, B body, or C body, or an E body, it's all the same stuff. They use torsion bar suspensions. Trucks and vans are different. Anyways, as you can see, I already got the torsion bars out. And how they go in here is they go through the frame. There's a hex inside of here. And they go into the lower control arm here. There's a hex there. And you can see the head on the torsion bars. So, when you first take this apart, first thing you have to do is unload the suspension. You see this bolt underneath here? Well, that puts force on the torsion bars. That's how you load the spring. Now, if you actually wanted to lower the front end of your Mopar, all you have to do is screw this out and the front of the car goes down. If it's too low, you need to go up, you screw it in and it goes up. This is the grease boot. It's going to be there, torsion bar is going to go through it. And on the back side here is this clip. This clip is what holds everything in. There's a groove inside of there. You just squeeze these guys together and out it comes. To get the torsion bar out, you use this tool here, clamp around it, and then you just beat on it here to get the torsion bar out of the lower control arm. If you're getting resistance, you might have forgot to unload the suspension by loosening that up, or you didn't unload it enough. Anyway, that's it for removing the torsion bar. I know I already have it out. Hopefully that's good enough. Something else you should always do is just, if you're doing this for the first time, take a lot of pictures. Stuff like this steering link, you know, the direction that it's facing. This one's sort of, you know, the center part of it is going towards the rear of the car. And this kind of comes up and then points outward. When you go to put this thing back together and you have it flipped over on the other side, you might be confused as to how it goes back together. If you have pictures you can look at, you can go, oh yeah, that's how it goes. Something else I should mention is for safety. Always, when you start beating on these things with a pickle fork and a hammer, make sure you wear safety glasses. See the end of the pickle fork? See how chewed up it is? These things get mushroomed and chunks of metal will go flying out of there if you don't hit it just right, which obviously has happened quite a few times on me. You don't want one of those pieces of metal in your eye, so be careful, wear safety glasses when swinging a hammer. Okay, sometimes these cotter pins can be difficult to get out. I was muscling this one out okay, but if you can't get it out with a pair of pliers, you might have to use a pair of dikes. I don't know if that's politically correct anymore. I'm old school, so that's what we called them. Cutters, I guess. If you use these, they bite into the material and you're able to pry them out a lot easier if you can't get them out with pliers. Take everything apart, keep your old stuff. Stuff like these castle nuts, you might be shorted on a front end kit and you might need it to finish the car. If you keep all your old stuff and one is missing in the new kit for whatever reason, you can put it back together using an old castle nut. And there's no problem with it. I mean, these things are good. They're not going to go bad. You can use them forever. So, something to consider. Alright, the tie rod ends are knocked out, the steering link is out. You can see it's kind of funky on this 72 Charger. I'm going to pull the Pitman Arm off. These are things you definitely want to hold on to until you get new pieces. I think especially with the A bodies, I think there was a variety of different ones. Some drop down farther than others and stuff. Could be depending on the engine that came in the car. Anyways, hold on to those till you get new ones. Not that you're ever going to reuse these, but that you want to be able to match it up to the new thing. On the other side is called the idler arm, which is right there. Hopefully you can kind of see it. There you go. Also, hold on to those. Oh, one more thing I was going to talk about. And that was just the B-bodies from 71 to about, I think 73. 74 got a little different. But anyway, if you have a 71 or 2 Charger especially, I think 73 is also the same. The front of these cars, the engine compartment, when you look at the inner fender wells, the firewall, they're basically like an E-body. It's like they took the E-body front clip, frame rails forward, and used it on the B-bodies as well, this generation. It's different than the earlier B-bodies, than these, but all the stuff that's on the firewall, all the stuff in the inner fender well, it's pretty much the same thing as an E-body. So if you happen to need parts and you don't have a Charger available and you're working on a Charger or a Roadrunner or something like that, and you're looking for little knick-knack things that go in the engine bay, E-body's exactly the same if you happen to come across one. Thought I'd just let you know, little trivia there. Okay, so the Pitman Arm nut is freaking on there, and I cannot get it off. So a pipe is your friend. Put a pipe on the end of your wrench, and I mean, ideally you would have a breaker bar, but you know, let's keep it interesting. We're going to use a pipe on a ratchet and try to knock that guy off. It's not like I haven't done it before. Alright, pipe worked like a charm. The nut popped right off. This is a Pitman Arm remover. Okay, there was a lot of road grime and stuff inside of there. I had to finagle the Pitman Arm remover to get in there. But basically, this is the bottom of the steering box shaft. This is going to screw up in there. There's a little tiny centering tit on there that goes right into the center of the shaft. Okay, I'm back. I actually had to use the pipe on it again. It was so tight. And there you go. That's how you take the Pitman Arm off. Again, don't throw it away. Not until you have the new one. I know this is like Mechanics 101, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is the nut and the lock washer that came off of the Pitman Arm. Whenever you can, try to screw stuff back on where it came from if it's possible. That way you don't lose it. You know where it is. Okay, taking out the strut rods. There's a pin that's inside this shaft. See it right. There's the hole. I think. Show it on the camera. Yeah. Anyway, there's a roll pin that's in there. You got to knock out before you pull the nuts off in this big washer. There's supposed to be rubber joints here, but kind of beat up. I think that's one right there. Anyways, get that on the front side. This is it right here. Goes through the lower control arm. You can loosen it. This one came loose. Sometimes you start to take this loose and the rod will start to rotate and you're like, shit, how do I hold it? What I've done is I use a pipe wrench to bite into it, hold it, or push on it while I'm twisting here, you know, posing each other. It is going to put teeth marks inside your bar, so if you're one of those particular guys that everything's got to be perfect, that's not going to work, or you might have to use that to get it out and then buy new ones if they have to be that perfect. I never worry about it. Nobody ever sees that shit, so that's just me. To get the backing plate off and the lower ball joint off, there's 4 bolts that hold it in. These 2 big ones on the bottom, front and back, and then these little ones. These little ones just hold the backing plate to the spindle. The bottom ones hold the backing plate to the spindle to the ball joint. And you can see on the side. So there's the other big one, and there's the other little one. All right, here's the arrangement on the other bolt. That's really hard to get off. I've got one socket here and a ratchet, and I got a socket and a ratchet here with a pipe for leverage. So note to self, should pull the top ones off first. So I'm over here trying to get the top ones loose, and then of course it breaks away from the lower ball joint because I already have the big ones loose. Not a big deal, but if you're doing this, I think it'll be easier to do the top one first. They do make disc brake kits for these that'll bolt up to the drum brake spindle. I'm probably not going to use that because I think they're a little bit more money, but I'll probably end up using the disc brake kit for the generic one, which is kind of set up for Aspens and Valaris, and they usually come with a spindle, so probably won't use any of that, but I probably will reuse these bolts. I'm not sure if they come with that or not, I can't remember. Okay, knocking off the lower ball joint. Just wanted to point this out. You want to make sure that the teeth are going to clear the control arm. If it hits the lower control arm, you're trying to beat on this thing, you're not going anywhere. So make sure it's pushed at an angle that when it goes through, it's not going to hit part of the lower control arm and stop it. Okay, I finally got the lower ball joint off. Man, it was a pain in the ass. Anyways, I had to retighten the strut rod because it was just too sloppy, so every time I'd give it a hit, it would kind of just, you know, get absorbed. So I had to make it tight, so when I gave it a strong hit, that force goes through the ball joint, through the pickle fork, and knocks it out. So note to self, keep the strut rod bolt in until you get that fucker off. Alright, pretty straightforward. For ball joint, knock it out and the spindle comes down. Something else that comes in handy too is sometimes these Zerk fittings, the new ones, they're like, you might break one, or maybe it's missing and you can take one from your old part and put it onto the new part. Alright, so I got the lower control arm pivots loose, and re-loosened up the strut rod. So let me take those off. And now, if it comes out like butter, it should just fall out. And there's your lower control arm. Here's another little trivia for you that I don't know if most people know this or not, but the UAW went on strike, and what you see as a 71 Charger, just so we're clear, this one's a 72, but the 71 Chargers were going to be the 70 Charger. And if you look at 71 Roadrunners, that's what would have been a 70 Roadrunner. But because the UAW went on strike and they were launching the Challengers and the Cudas, Chrysler put the redesign of the B-body, pushed it off a year, and they basically just did some tweaks to the 68, 69 style B-body and let it roll into 70. So I'm pretty glad that that happened because I happen to love 70 Chargers and I love 70 Roadrunners. So, and we still got the 71 Charger and the 72 Charger and Roadrunners, so it's not like we lost anything. So it's a good thing. Anyway, if you didn't know, you know now.